Ultra 4K Extreme.
Now, we're in the southwestern part of Mauritius. That is probably the most popular place for kite surfers and surfers all over the island. 400 meters away from here, there's a famous reef and a famous wave called One Eye. Lots of people come here. Also, lots of wave riders dream of this wave. This one is very large and it's quite difficult to ride. Sometimes it can even be 200 meters high, so I think I'll go for a ride. When you come to the beach, you stop and look around, and then when there's some huge set and you see a great wave, 4 or 5 meters high, you can't help exclaiming, "Oh, whoa, it's a cool day. It'll be something unreal, a real rock and roll." Such an inner state that makes you feel that now something is going to happen, and I will get a hell of a bang out of it. You see this? You imagine yourself there, like you've been waiting so long for this day. There were no such waves before, and today these perfect waves turn up. It's incredibly hard to explain this feeling, this expectance. It's unbelievable and extremely cool. I'm Evgeny Novozheev, I do kite surfing, and now I'm living mostly in Mauritius. Evgeny Novozheev, 39 years old, better known among surfers as the Jackson. He tried kite sports first in 2003, and 3 years later, he won a kite surfing championship in Russia. Today, Evgeny is a 4-time winner of the Russian National Championship in kite surfing. Jackson is in the Guinness Book of World Records. He was the first to swim, or rather surf, across the Bering Strait on his kiteboard. I'm in Moscow now. Winter, Russia. I'm at home. Strange as it may sound, but I go to Moscow for my vacation. My friends always laugh and say, "Cool, you came from Mauritius to Moscow for vacation." Well, that's true. Here I don't have any problems or special things to do. Sure, if you don't count all those traffic jams, although I don't really hurry anywhere here. I can't say it's a pleasure for me to be stuck in traffic, but it isn't annoying either. Earlier it was more irritating for me and my friends than now. So here I'm totally relaxed and any activity is fun for me. Actually, that's why I came here. Breakfast, the so-called continental breakfast. During training or contests or just going somewhere, I often stay in different hotels. Breakfast at all hotels are the same. For me, breakfast is the main meal. That's why when earlier I was getting ready for a competition, during training I was always dependent on the weather forecast. I could have a snack, then I would think, all right, I'll train a bit now, surf, then I'll get out, rest, eat lunch, then I'll go kite surfing again. But in reality, everything can be totally different. You can come to the place, but there won't be any wind, and there will be nothing to do. And then suddenly it starts blowing, so you have to go training at once. So in such cases, unfortunately, you skip your lunch. A lot of things depend not on me, but on the weather, so I have to be ready right in the morning. I wake up, and then I have a hearty breakfast immediately, because sometimes I won't manage to have lunch. That's most likely that it will be like that. I will be only able to have dinner in the evening, so I have to be ready and full of energy during the whole day, and therefore I still have this habit. Well, to be honest, I don't want to go away from the training and eat lunch during the day, so I stuff myself with food in the morning, so that's enough for me even in the evening. That's why usually my breakfast consists of fried eggs with onions, tomatoes, sausages, since I'm at home, and a little potatoes as well. My breakfast menu was formed long ago, and it didn't actually depend much on me, because mostly I stayed at different hotels. Of course, in the hotels there's a buffet for breakfast. I had to taste a lot of different eggs. Ostrich eggs, quail eggs. I even don't remember all of them. But still the most favorite ones are chicken eggs for sure. My favorite drink of the gods, it's a berry compote. That's something that I really like. This drink is homemade, yet very banal, just compote. I can drink it in no time. Alright, my breakfast is ready. Bon appetit to you and me. So that's the beginning of my usual day. In Moscow, Mauritius, and really everywhere. Now we'll go pick out a surfboard, which got broken on the plane and which I brought here to get it fixed. Then we'll go to the factory, where it was actually repaired. Surprisingly, it turned out that in Moscow, there is a factory for producing surfboards. We'll go there and meet some people. Every time I'm looking for a reason to go somewhere and make up an idea on what I could do. Just today, for example, I decided that I need to pick up my board after it's repaired. It's a surfboard which I rode a week ago in Sochi, and once again tried winter surfing in Russia looks like. In general, people believe that there is no surfing in Russia at all, but it turns out that it actually exists here. And on my way back, when I was flying back, it turned out that such things as surfboards often get damaged during flights. They get broken or they're transferred somehow carelessly, so that's why I arrived with so much damage. Usually the most fragile part is the stern. Here's a big hole. Now there's no hole. It looks like a new one. Let's go there, turn right. Watch out. Come in. Well, there are universal boards. That depends on what you want. I mean, this one is not for surfing. Of course, it doesn't have a volume or anything for surfing. But nevertheless, it still has a stern and a head, which are more specialized. You screw a leg and go. Yeah. Well, actually, there are all the settings where these blanks and wood are made. It looks like veneer, but actually it's super wood. Everything comes from China. Here are all the blanks. They arrive already half made and then we cut them, drill the holes, cut out the shape, so we do everything as it should be. And in fact, All producing companies work like that. The market requires an unbelievable amount of models. Come on, I'll show you the surfboards. How do you choose foam plastic? There are so many options. Someone says you need a big ball. Someone says you need a small one. That's because a smaller ball probably absorbs less water. What do you think? Well, first of all, everything would absorb water. Any foam plastic would do that, both small and large ones. There are no surprises, no magic at all. The more material is used, the heavier and stronger the board becomes. The less material is used, it becomes lighter and less firm. As a rule, we take foam plastic with a density up to 35 to make surfboards like this. It's pasted over by glass fiber on both sides. Watch out, it's all dusty. You can even squeeze it. It's like it's bulletproof, and it's better for wave surfing. Those boards get broken not in the water, but in the boat. You bring it there, then take it out, and it's broken. And this board is something like 1,000 years old, and it looks like a new one. Well, it's getting a little yellow here, well, because epoxide, as well as any resin, becomes yellow. But sure, if someone wants a lighter board, no problem. It's even better for us. In general, I'm putting 2 200-gram fabric on the wave surfing board and 1 200-gram cloth under the board. It's very light, and there's a compromise between strength and weight. This is a perfect one, I can say. And then the top of it is polished by hand, right? Well, now everything is handmade. By next season, I think we'll have done a couple of models. 1 model and 2 special kite surfing sizes, because now it's in great demand. Moreover, the people now are riding flute kites on flat water. They start to jump and they expect that they will be ready to ride the wave. But it's like that. First you need to learn to ride it, then you need to learn how to turn it on already in water, how to do it calmly and in a relaxed way. And only then you probably can try to ride at least some small wave. Here is also a veneer of different colors, which I cut myself. Everything is perfectly done. There are absolutely no holes. I can't do that using a machine. Now you can understand why this board has arrived from Sochi to Moscow, for example, with 6 holes in it. Because it's some unknown stuff for our porters. They can throw the board because they think it's just some furniture or an ironing board. They absolutely don't have any idea what it's made of. You'd probably think that it's such a small shop, but in fact, hundreds or even thousands of boards are made here. Can you imagine that? Yes, all right, bye. If you happen to be nearby, you're welcome. Isn't that cool? Such a treasure island just in the center of Moscow. I'm shocked. I had a feeling as if there was some real summer mood. Well, basically, I've seen and heard what I wanted. Now I really understand that they can do whatever you want. But there is another question. Do they actually need that? Ha! So if I manage to persuade Misha to make a board for me, I'll get a very nice one.
Мне кажется, это получится очень хороший результат. Наконец, сбылась мечта островитянина.
At last, the dream of an islander has come true. I'm on a skating rink. Let's play hockey. Here's my friend Oleg, my coach, and my son Misha, a young hockey player. Are you ready? Cool. I've been fond of hockey since my childhood. I couldn't play hockey professionally. I didn't have many opportunities, but now I can do it, so why not? I've come to Moscow in winter, Everything is about ice hockey here. Hockey is in the air, I can say. A lot of competitions are being held here at the moment, and I've attended different matches with great pleasure. I'm a fan of CSKA. When I'm in Mauritius, I watch hockey matches too, and never miss any championship or Euro Tour. Here are a couple of pads. We couldn't even dream of that in our childhood. I couldn't even imagine what it looks like. In our childhood, protection was something fantastic to us. My father sometimes made something for me. My mother made me a CSKA top with its star, a number and my surname on the back. Sure, skates in my childhood were horrible. But as I grew up in a military town, we were far from civilization, so to speak, and we couldn't afford to buy nice skates of a good brand. We had some flexible leather iron ones. Earlier, even the laces were 4 times as long. You could wrap yourself into them to hold your legs somehow fixed so that it couldn't bend. So the laces were the key equipment.
Решался вопрос руками. А здесь уже все так удобно.
CSKA. Wow. CSKA will always be the leader. Am I right? Misha, help me please. It's great that everything is available now, because I didn't have those opportunities in my childhood. And now I remember this time as if it were just yesterday. Now when you can get anything, clubs, protection, etc., and when the equipment is proper and even professional, you can put everything on and go to the skating rink. For me, it's unbelievable. Look, a real Wayne Gretzky. It's such a pity we didn't have this equipment in our childhood. Anyway, now I'm getting total satisfaction of this, and I love it. When I put on my skates and go skating, of course I feel some nostalgia from my childhood. Because it's so nice to have this impression, which I used to feel when I put my skates on, when I was 10 or 12 years old. In our childhood, we used to play without knowing anything. No one told us how to play. We tried it ourselves and made a lot of mistakes. We did not know how to score a goal. We just drove the puck. Sometimes it could be a good game. It seemed that it was not quite bad. And now there's an opportunity to play properly. I have many friends who play ice hockey, so we can do it together and see how it works. I've always liked to watch slow-motion videos on TV, when you can see that a stick even gets bent almost like an arc. I can't even imagine it. Yet this stick can bend like this. It's made of carbon fiber, and I don't clearly understand how it can bend without breaking. It turns out that because of this flexibility, it even shoots. I'd like to understand it and feel it. I can imagine that just by using a special technique, if you can properly shoot a puck, it goes much stronger and faster.
Самое главное, я точно знаю, что я туда приеду и
The most important thing is that when I come back, I won't be able to play hockey. There won't ever be any skating rink like here. No one would ever build it in any African country. I can do it only here, and it's quite important also that there are so many opportunities here in Moscow. And it's cool to know that when I visit Moscow, I'll be able to try here everything and enjoy it both in winter and summer. It's a true pleasure, guys.
Я буду приезжать, что летом, что зимой, и буду этим здесь заниматься, и это действительно кайф.
I was playing for about half an hour. So are you tired? I say yes, yes I am. Now I get what it's all about. You want to have skills in everything you do. When you can't do anything, you start doing some extra work and you spend too much energy on that. But everything comes with experience. Boy, you need to learn a lot.
If
you see that shrimp have black heads, it means they've already been defrosted once and then put in the freezer again. Their heads become black and they aren't tasty anymore. The whole body should be pink or red, including the head and tail. It would be great if there were caviar as well. For example, I adore shrimp that have caviar in their head, not under the tail. It's a pure delight for me. It can be during some period in winter, and when I come here at this time, I definitely enjoy it. Sometimes you have to look for proper shrimp a bit longer, because there can be really good ones, but some of them can be quite bad. Look, these are black ones. These are not good. And there are also red or pink ones. Those are good. Anyway, we can really find a lot of good ones here. Plastic bags are now prohibited on the island. They're considered to be polluting the environment. Now there are no plastic bags in the shops at all. On the one hand, it's good, and on the other hand, it's not so good. Done. Of course, there are some big shops in Mauritius, but not that huge. Here you can really get lost, and you have to know where you can find some products. As a result, it's quite an involving excursion. So, we've bought everything we need. Let's go and cook something. I've caught a cold here. I need to buy something for my cold symptoms or virus infections, which are now spread all over the city. After my trip to Sochi, I was too relaxed, and I thought I wouldn't catch cold, because last time I was ill a few years ago. There's so much different stuff for colds. I've heard at least 7 of them. I'm not good at that because last time I caught cold was over 5 years ago. I can't even clearly remember this. Actually, I don't even know why I've caught cold. Probably because when I was in Sochi, the temperature was +3 there, the water temperature was +10, and I spent 3 hours in the water. After I came back from Sochi, I thought that if I hadn't got cold in Sochi, then I didn't care, nothing would happen to me. That's why I didn't care much about it. I was sure I wouldn't get sick. Well, it turned out I was mistaken. So let's go cook something. Now I'll tell you how we are going to cook northern shrimp.
Так, в первую очередь,
First of all,
в кастрюле воды,
we fill a pan with water
чтобы ее было
so that it doesn't cover the shrimp in it.
полностью не накрывало креветки, которые засыпаете в кастрюлю.
It's important because if you pour too much water
Вот.
and the shrimps defrost, then this melted water will mix with the juice coming from the shrimp.
В котором они сварены.
These are shrimp in their own glaze.
Поймали на корабле.
They've been caught somewhere in the northern cold sea.
Поэтому они вот такие
Then they were cooked just at once, and that's why they're so bright red.
просто
They've already been cooked.
горячей водой.
Some people just douse them with boiled water and that's it.
Я все равно
That's okay, but I prefer to cook them again.
готовку. То есть надо приготовить.
Look, such small shrimp are quite well known among people.
Вот они, эти
First of
маленькие
all,
креветки.
they differ from the southern ones in their size.
Ну, они в
They are
первую очередь
really tiny,
отличаются от
and they have very tender meat.
размером, потому что они вот такие прям
The
мелкие,
bigger
но,
a shrimp or a lobster
соответственно,
is,
мясо такое
the
нежное.
harder their meat is.
Потому что чем крупнее креветка, чем крупнее лобстер,
Sure, you can cook it some special way to make them more tender.
Готовки при помощи рецепта какого-то. Вот. Но изначально
But these northern shrimp are very tender and soft even before cooking. So we don't really have to do anything special. We just put them into the pan, pour water so that it doesn't cover those shrimp, because when they defrost, water will mix up with their own juice, and it will be extremely tasty. Shrimp have been my favorite food since childhood, just those which are sold here in Russia, in Moscow. These shrimp are caught in the northern seas. They are very different from the shrimp caught somewhere in the south. Just in my opinion, northern shrimp are way better, and I've been eating them with great pleasure since childhood. That's why I'm a real foodie when it comes to shrimp. I know how to pick them and I know how to cook them, I guess. I cook them like that. Let's wait until the water boils.
Теперь ждем, когда все это закипит.
The most important thing here is that as soon as they start boiling, just in a few minutes we take them out of the pot. If you overcook shrimp, boil for a long time, they will start to harden. As far as I know, shrimp contain all the nutrients that are necessary for people. That's why it's not just a harmless food that can be eaten quite often, but also very useful. I can eat shrimp actually every day because they're easy enough to cook.
Самое странное, наверное, то, что я приезжаю сюда.
The strangest thing is, perhaps, that I come here to eat seafood. Well, sure, not only seafood, but everything that I used to like and what I can't find in Mauritius.
Потешить себя там на острове. Но креветки, как и до того.
Shrimp had been on my diet list before I started kite surfing.
Вот. И до сих пор эта традиция.
So nowadays I keep this tradition too.
Самое главное, что они мне спустя
And that's important that a lot of years later, I still like them so much. I've always liked them. When shrimp are thawing, they slightly sink into the water. Then the juice comes out of them, and they're being cooked in their own juice right now. In fact, you can pour even less water. You even ignore putting water into the pan. When they defrost, they will let their juice out and will be cooked in this liquid.
Дадут свой сок, в нем и сварятся.
The water's boiling, the shrimp are ready.
Готовы.
I smell iodine and lemon.
И лимона.
So what's happening in Mauritius?
Вот сегодня здесь будет происходить.
Today there will be an event, which was the reason why I stayed in Moscow a bit longer. It's a premiere of the film The Yard, in which I also took part. We're gonna go watch it. He surfed across the Bering Strait on a kiteboard, and today he came here from Mauritius especially to present a premiere of the film. He will be here with you throughout the evening. A lot of people have come to this premiere. I'm sure there are even more of them here. I didn't really expect it, to be honest. There are so many familiar faces, really familiar ones. I can recognize some of them from far away. Actually, that's why I decided to stay here and see all those people I've already almost forgotten. I planned to leave 4 days ago, but I made up my mind to stay here because there's a premiere of the film The Yard, which I participated in. There are 3 surfing places presented in the film. It's Morocco, Hawaii, and Mauritius. I represent Mauritius. So I just couldn't skip this event. It's a great way to meet my friends and people who share my ideas. Good news, I didn't have to buy a ticket. Super Jackson, the man who crossed the Bering Strait just on a kiteboard. He is here today. Here he comes. These people are the camera crew, who are in the same boat and almost reached the breaking wave. Suddenly, the boat's rotor is broken, as well as its tail feather. What has happened? No, the steering rod is just broken. Sure, there was a story when we were really thinking whether there's any special power in the world protecting you from troubles. We have shot everything and everyone is luckily alive and kicking. Enjoy the film. You can turn upside down in water, and you can lose this sense where's the top and the bottom. But panicking is the worst thing. Just when you start thinking that you want this wave to be over, you will fall down. The most attractive thing here was the fact that I would finally see what real waves look like. I have never seen anything similar to what I saw here, how a real wave should look like. I have been waiting for this moment for a very long time, and when I finally first got here in 2006 and saw everything with my own eyes, of course I was hypnotized by this. There are no limits in these sports. You always want to achieve something different. You want a better too, a bigger wave, and you always keep on thinking that one day you'd be brave enough to ride Jaws. So, the premiere is over. I guess I've done everything I wanted. However, no, not yet. Here's this ice cream, the taste of my childhood.
детстве.
It used to be my favorite.
Обещал друзьям своим маврикийским.
I promised to take a selfie in the frosty Moscow for my friends in Mauritius. It's plus 30 there, and here it's minus 30.
О! А вот и жена.
It's my wife. They're waiting for me. I've got to go.
Ну вот, наконец, я иду.
I'm finally home. We are now in the southwestern part of Mauritius, the most popular place on the whole island for kite surfers and surfers. During the last few years, I've lived and worked here, and also taught people kite surfing. Our school is situated not far from here, and just 3 minutes away there's a lagoon for beginners training.
Лагуна для обучения новичков. Ну, так получилось, что в 2003
Well, in 2003, when I first tried kite surfing, after riding it, I realized that I'd like to go in for this sport and to develop my skills quickly. Of course, I started to strive for some competitions. There were already different championships in Russia, and then some world competitions. And as preparations for these competitions mean constant training, sure, you should have a place where the wind blows all the time, and it should be a proper place for kite surfing. It usually depends on the season, which place you should choose. I mean, there's no place on the planet where the wind blows always directly. There are always different seasons: spring, summer, autumn, winter. First, I went kite surfing in Australia, but after spending 2 months there and doing the same thing every single day, because there is in fact nothing else to do, I went to Mauritius and then realized that there are lots of things to do. I mean, water sports, various types of kite surfing and surfing. You train hard for 2-3 weeks, and then you understand that you should relax. And it doesn't mean just sitting at home and lying on the sofa. I can surf the waves or ride the waves on my kiteboard. This diversity brings me an emotional lift. Since I don't just train and live for my pleasure in Mauritius, like any normal person, I should do some work. That's why I do something I know I can. So my work is also connected with kite surfing. I opened a school here, which is the only Russian school in Mauritius, in the place where it should be. It's situated in the southwestern part of the island. There are just perfect conditions for training people. A lot of Russians and Europeans come to us, and we go kite surfing. So I can say that's my main job. We also sell some equipment for kite surfing. So sure, I also devote my time to this. My family is my wife and my twins Martin and Liana, who are now almost 3.5. They have quite a nice life. When you live on an island since your birth, where there's a never-ending summer, an ocean nearby, a beach, it seems that this is what kids really need. They were born in the USA and then almost at once were brought to the island. Hold on, hold on. Hold your legs like this. Yeah, right. I don't know though how it should be and how it will be in the future, but I hope that everything that is happening now, their close contact with the ocean, all these water sports, will make them fond of that. I don't know what happens next. It's too early to talk about it, but they have already gone through some preparatory steps. They already know what a surfboard is, what a kite is. They know that their parents go kiteboarding. They've already tried standing on a surfboard, but of course, they also adore playing on the beach. They like to crawl or climb on the board or jump from it, even walk on it or try to paddle. Of course, it's sweet for them. That's really funny and cute. My wife is from Moscow. We first met in Egypt at the competition during the festival Russian Wave. I went there to participate in the competition, and she was a guest there. In general, since that time, we started dating. Then she traveled with me almost everywhere, accompanied me at all my competitions, and learned to ride a kite. She is incredibly happy to do that and enjoys kite surfing. I guess she hasn't ever missed any windy day in Mauritius. A huge coral reef stretches along the coast of Mauritius. In some places, its width can be up to 1 kilometer or even more. Just beyond the reef, the mid-ocean begins. The depth grows really fast, and just 3 kilometers away from the reef, the depth can already be up to 1 kilometer. That's why when the ocean wave comes here, first it faces a coral reef absolutely freely, and when it reaches the reef, it grows a few times more, and then crashes against the reef. The depth of the reef where the wave breaks may sometimes be 0.5 meters high. sometimes even less. A reef where the wave breaks is basically clefts and stones sticking out of it. If you fall down there, it may end up quite badly. There are also so-called canals on a coral reef, which are formed from water, tending to flow out of the reef when the wave breaks, and it somehow needs to go back into the ocean. So it washes away such canals. When extremely big waves come, the flow in the canals is so powerful that sometimes it is very difficult to cross it by boat. The wave overflows then inside. It meets the flow, and then it turns into so-called chaotic waves. When there are big waves, it's quite problematic to cross the canal by boat. To compare, now during such weather, it's much easier. The flow is minimal, everything looks safe. But just on that very day when we were riding big waves, we were trying to come out and looking for some bay between the sets of waves. And when we already almost reached the canal, we lost our control cable just in this place where we're standing now. It was such a surprise that if it had happened 15 seconds before and we had already started to come out of the waves, we would have lost control, and it could have ended very badly. But we were lucky. We managed to stop at a maximum point of no return. After that, it would have been extremely dangerous. I don't know how, but we managed to come back by boat without any steering. This place is called One Eye. It's that part of the reef, 500 to 600 meters, where you can find the best wave. And so basically, we ride only here. Today, the waves are small, of course. When the wave is big, everything looks totally different. That part which we see on the beach is the most southwestern part of Mauritius. Usually we come there, unpack our things, launch our kites, and start from there. Then we drive up to the reef, jump over the waves, and we start catching them within this area when the waves have several peaks. At least 3, I mean, at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the ride. And depending on where the wave comes from, we catch it at about 200 meters from the reef. It looks like a flat roller. Then you just follow this wave and almost ride with it. It has no traction yet at that moment. It isn't pulling you yet. And when it already approaches the reef and the depth becomes shallower, it grows and becomes acute. Then you see a wall. So we get up on this wall and roll down along the wave. Like in surfing, the most important thing is to learn to read the ocean and the wave. In fact, knowing the technique is not enough. It's not just about catching the wave, standing on it and riding it. I guess it's the easiest way to do it. The most important thing is to learn to see and recognize things from a distance. Which wave you can ride or which one you can't. Not every wave is suitable for surfing or for kite surfing. You have to see it from far away, determine the place where you will start riding it or the place where you jump off it. Otherwise, the wave will close and you will crash. You have to understand at which speed you're riding the wave, what the wave structure is, and whether it's possible to surf into a tube. And this is considered the most unbelievable stunt. Of course, this feeling is fabulous. Then you have to watch out not to miss the end of the wave, because if you try to ride away from it towards the reef, I'm almost sure you won't be able to do it. Because the wind and wave direction keep the shape of the wave perfectly, and it's very difficult to run away from it in such case. Anyway, it will crash on you, and it will look as if you are knocked down with a huge white avalanche. There's a legend according to which the name of the wave One Eye comes from this mountain. When you see its right side, you can recognize a face on it and a hole which resembles one eye.
А в 400 метрах отсюда...
400 meters away from here, there's a famous reef and a famous wave called One Eye. Lots of people come here. Also, lots of wave riders dream of this wave. This one is very large and it's quite difficult to ride it. It can be up to 200 meters. This very wave once attracted me and many other people here. Okay, I'll go for a ride. When you come to the beach, you stop and look around, and then when there is some huge set and you see a great wave, 4 to 5 meters high, you can't help exclaiming, "Oh ho ho! It's a cool day today. It will be something unreal, a real rock and roll. Come on, quicker!"
Ultra 4K Extreme.